Stardew Valley has 12 festivals throughout its 4 seasons, and my favourite festivals are the ones that have the biggest impact on the overall gameplay, so in this video I'll be ranking these festivals based on how impactful they are on the game as a whole, and not based on the atmosphere of them, or the decorative items they provide, as that is harder to quantify and is less important to how I play the game. These festivals will be ranked from S tier to F tier, with S being iridium through to C being copper, D being coal, and F being trash. With that out of the way, on to the video, and the first festival of Stardew Valley. The very first festival that you will experience as you play Stardew Valley is the Egg Festival. This festival has 2 main parts, the Egg Hunt and Pierre's Shop. In the Egg Hunt, you win by collecting 9 eggs in single player, or by collecting 46 eggs in multiplayer. What do you win? For your first time, you get a straw hat, which is a unique hat, and for subsequent wins in subsequent years, you get a prize ticket, which at that point is okay, but not a big deal. And then there's Pierre's Shop, which sells some decorations, but also sells strawberry seeds for 100G each. It is this which makes the Egg Festival worth going to, but to see why strawberries are so good, let's go over some metrics. The first metric is money. Strawberries provide at minimum 140G of profit per tile, but this can be increased by at least 30% with the tiller profession and quality increasing fertilizer. The close seconds are cauliflowers at 95G of profit per tile at minimum, and rhubarb at 120G of profit per tile, but has the added 42,500G cost of repairing the bus. The second metric is farming XP. Strawberries are the best here too at 36 XP per tile, versus 23 XP per tile for cauliflower and 26 XP per tile for rhubarb. In my playthroughs, it is a common goal to reach level 6 farming by the end of spring, and strawberries achieve this with the fewest tiles. Finally, strawberries are loved gifts for Maru and Demetrius, the latter being especially useful as Demetrius can give Nautilus shells, an item needed for the community center that is otherwise winter only. This doesn't mean that I always attend the Egg Festival. A notable case where I didn't was in the All Fish in 1.5 video, where the money needs were so high that I simply could not satisfy it with farming at all. However, if you're playing Stardew Valley with a more casual pace, the Egg Festival is a must visit, making it an S tier festival. The strawberries from the Egg Festival are necessary for perfection, but the Egg Festival is already S tier. Next up is a flower dance. Pierre's Shop has some decorations, but it also has a recipe to craft a tub of flowers, as well as a rare crow. The tub of flowers is just another piece of decoration, and the rare crow is basically a more expensive scarecrow, making Pierre's Shop less important for this particular festival. However, note that both items are needed for perfection, so if you're working towards that, you do need to visit the flower dance once. But then, there's the dance itself. If you have 4 hearts with any marriage candidates, you can dance with them in this festival, which gets you another heart of friendship. This is pretty good, as a heart of friendship is worth about 1 to 2 weeks of gifting, and the benefit of the dance is magnified if you're focusing on friendship with one marriage candidate in particular. For example, in the All Star Drops run, I needed to marry Shane for one of those star drops, and so this festival was very important for his friendship. However, typically, this is not the case. I usually either don't care about friendships, or I am focusing on a villager that cannot be married, like Demetrius, both circumstances making this festival pointless to do. Even in the last challenge, 77 dishes in 77 days, where I had to befriend 18 villagers including Shane and Emily, I decided to skip the flower dance as I felt that both of their friendships were easily doable without the extra hearts. Ultimately, I'm going to give the flower dance a B tier. The heart of friendship you get is useful in some situations, but usually it isn't worthwhile, and most of the time you can skip Pierre's Shop here too. The first summer festival, the Luau, features yet another shop and a potluck soup. The shop just contains some decorations and a single starfruit. If you're looking to grow a lot of starfruit, it's a lot easier to buy the seeds in bulk from the oasis than it is to grow them from the one sold here. The potluck soup is a different question though. You can add any edible item apart from cooked dishes. If you add a gross item like void mayonnaise, then you lose friendship with every villager in the town. If, however, you add a delicious item like Iridium Legend, goat milk, or truffle, then you get the best response and gain friendship with every villager in the town, just under half a heart. The impact of this depends on how many people you're getting friendship for. If it's none, you can definitely skip this festival. If it's only one person like Demetrius, then maybe you can skip this festival, maybe you don't. But, if like in 77 dishes in 77 days, you need to get friendships with many people, the benefit of the Luau can be really big. In that run, I was getting friendship with 18 people, and so the Luau best response gave me the equivalent of about 8.6 hearts of friendship overall. While the Luau sometimes isn't beneficial, the potential is huge, and because you can get a bit of friendship with a lot of townspeople, the Luau gets put in A tier. The Trout Derby is a simple festival. Fish rainbow trout, get golden tags, and trade them in for various prizes. There are a few strategies for maximizing the number of rainbow trout caught, and thus the amount of prizes you can get from the festival. The easiest one is to just use rainbow trout baits from a bait maker, which is what I did to get footage and stats for this video. I didn't even use any tackle. From one full day of fishing rainbow trout, I got 21 golden tags, which got me 1 tent kit, and 2 lots of every prize that can be obtained after that. Overall, the prizes in my opinion are okay, but not that good. Going based on an estimate of the in-game money worth of the prizes, I'd estimate that 1 day's worth of prizes was worth about 18,000 G, and 1 day's worth of rainbow trout itself is worth about 9,000 G, with fisher, but not angler, for a total of about 27,000 G. This is similar to some money making methods like fishing catfish and low level skull cavern dives, but if money itself is your goal, you can get 56,000 G from a full summer day of fishing surgeons and super cucumbers. So, because the Trout Derby is half as good as a regular summer fishing day based on monetary value, and because on a non-monetary basis the rewards from this festival isn't that good, I'm going to put the Trout Derby into C tier. The Dance of the Moonlight Jellies is the first of 2 late night festivals. Instead of starting at 9 AM to 2 PM, this festival starts at 10 PM to midnight. With the Egg Festival, Flower Dance and Luau, you could enter right before 2 PM and be back on the farm at 10 PM, costing 8 hours of the day. For this festival, you can enter right before 11:50 PM and return at midnight, meaning that it costs almost no time to attend this festival. So, what do you get? For the most part, vibes, which is why this festival is popular amongst the Stardew Valley player base. But I'm not ranking these festivals based on vibes, I'm ranking based on the impact on the gameplay as a whole, and that just isn't what this one is about. There's only 2 ways this festival could do anything for you as a player. Firstly, as time is frozen in the festival, you can talk to everyone and get 8% of a heart with them without taking any in-game time to do so. Secondly, in addition to decorative items, Pierre sells a single seafoam pudding, the best fishing buff item in the game. That seems big, but it's not as big as it seems. It's pretty easy to reach fishing level 9, and the resources to cook a seafoam pudding are pretty easy to come by too. Ultimately, this makes the Dance of the Moonlight Jellies something of a nothing burger, but as it's a very short nothing burger, I'm going to put it in C tier. Next up is the first fall festival, the Stardew Valley Fair. Pierre doesn't have a shop, instead there is a shop that sells various items for star tokens, a fair only currency that you earn by winning the range display, by playing the different attractions, and by gambling. As such, everything at the shop is kind of free. You can easily win the Grange display and then gamble your points until you have enough to buy everything. As for what you can buy, the shop is guaranteed to have a star drop, a rare crow and a prize ticket, as well as one of the following items: a triple shot espresso, pepper poppers, a glowstone ring, 100 hay, or 24 mixed seeds. Overall, that's pretty good for free. Also, because of the rare crow and the star drop, you do need to attend this festival once for perfection, but this one is still worth going to even if you don't care about perfection at all. Because of the large amount of free items you can get from the Stardew Valley Fair, this festival gets put into S tier. Now for the Spirits Eve Festival. Like the Dance of the Moonlight Jellies, you can enter right before 11:50 PM and return back on the farm at midnight, meaning that almost no time is lost if you decide to go to this festival. So, what do you get? First, Pierre has another shop where you can buy jack-o'-lanterns, the recipe to craft them, and yet another rare crow. The jack-o'-lanterns are decorative only, unless you're playing with remixed bundles, in which case they can appear in the Spirits Eve bundle in the community center. But don't forget that as of 1.6, jack-o'-lanterns also appear outside people's houses in town, so this festival isn't compulsory to get them. The latter 2 items are needed for perfection, but are otherwise fairly minor. Secondly, there is a maze you can complete. In odd years, you get a golden pumpkin as a reward, which sells for 2,500 G, or can be given as a universally loved gift, though quality gifts are usually better. In even years, you get a prize ticket, which, long story short, can be traded in for some decent items. The rewards for the maze is decent, especially when you consider that the Spirit's Eve festival can cost as little as 10 in-game minutes to visit, such that I think that this festival makes it to B tier. The Festival of Ice is the first winter festival, and like most festivals, entry ends at 2 PM. This one has a shop and a fishing contest. The shop this time is run by the travelling merchant, and apart from some decorative items, you can get a rare crow, a cranberry sauce, stuffing, and pumpkin soup. However, unlike the Flower Dance and Spirit's Eve, you don't have to visit the Festival of Ice for that rare crow, as it can be obtained from the travelling carts normally in fall or winter. As for the latter three items, the cooked dishes, they're not that good, especially for this part of the game. For the fishing contest, if you win, you get a hat, a magnet, a barbed hook, and a dressed spinner. The barbed hook attaches itself to weaker fish, which actually makes it one of the worst tackles as the weaker fish are already easy enough. The dressed spinner is one of the better tackles as it reduces bite time, letting you catch fish faster, but they can be bought for 1000 G each, and thus are trivially obtained without visiting the festival. Finally, the magnet increases the odds of getting treasure from fishing, but it is bait and not tackle, and thus lasts for only one fish. As such, overall, the reward for the fishing contest is just not that good. With very tepid rewards for the fishing contest, and common items in the once a year shop, I'm going to put this festival into F tier. You can skip this one if you want. The second fishing festival added in 1.6, Squid Fest, has you fishing squids to get prizes, like the Trout Derby. However, there's a big difference here. There's no limit to the prizes you can get from the Trout Derby other than passing out at 2 AM, but Squid Fest operates differently. Catching a certain number of squids puts you into a prize tier, and once you get 8 or 10 squids, you unlock the Iridium prize, and there's no more prizes, meaning you can leave with no penalty. Redeeming your prizes gets you the prize of the tier you're at, as well as all tiers below. As such, with squid targeted bait, as well as dress spinners, I was able to catch 12 squids and get all the prizes of the day by 10 AM, such that realistically speaking, the Squid Fest takes only 4 hours plus setup to get some squid bait. What do you get from the festival? On the first day of Squid Fest, you get, among other things, deluxe bait, a dish o' the sea, a pearl, and the Arto Crabbing Skill Book, which effectively boosts crab pot yields by 25%. On the second day, you get a trap bobber, another dish o' the sea, a treasure chest, and if you already got the skill book, you get a seafoam pudding. Ultimately, these items are fine for 4 hours of fishing. Considering just the pearl and the treasure chest, attending the Squid Fest is equivalent to making up to 27k in a day of fishing, which is 60% of an ideal day of winter fishing. But you get extra fishing supplies too. Normally, this would put the Squid Fest in C tier, but the festival takes only 4 hours of the day, giving you the other 18 hours to do whatever else you want to do. Also, squids. I can't not give it a B. The first festival added after release version 1.0, the main attractions of the night market are the submarine, the magic shop boat, and the travelling cart. In addition, like the Trout Derby and Squid Fest, the night market takes place over multiple days. The submarine is a vessel that takes the player deep under the ocean where 3 unique fish can be caught: blobfish, spookfish, and midnight squid. In versions 1.3 and 1.4, this was the only way to catch these 3 fish, and thus this festival was compulsory to catch every fish, and thus get every star drop. But, in version 1.5, an item called Magic Bait was added, which lets you catch these 3 fish by fishing to the left of the leftmost pier on the beach map at any day of the year, which makes attendance of this festival no longer compulsory to get them. Overall, catching the blobfish, spookfish, and midnight squid is easier in this festival due to the higher fish odds in the submarine, but now that the night market is no longer compulsory for those 3 fish, it is often preferable to get them with magic baits, even if the odds are lower. The magic shop boat sells, among some decorative items, seeds. Spring crop seeds are sold on winter 15, summer crop seeds on winter 16, and fall crop seeds on winter 17. However, the utility of this is limited, as the shop only sells the same seeds Pierre does, not the better seeds like strawberry, rhubarb, and starfruit, so you can't use this to buy the best seeds ahead of schedule. The best use of this shop is buying seeds for bundles or villager gifts, but for that to work you also need access to an all-season growing area like the greenhouse or island farm. Finally, the travelling cart appears on each of the 3 days that the night market is on, which gives 3 more chances at whatever items you're looking for from it, but otherwise isn't a big deal. Overall, the most impactful part of the night market is the submarine, but now that the 3 fish from the submarine ride can be obtained any day of the year with magic bait, the night market is not as important anymore, and thus gets placed into B tier. The last festival of the Stardew year, the Feast of the Winter Star, is Stardew Valley's analogue to Christmas. So, what does it entail for you, the player? There is a shop, and a secret gift-giving ceremony. The shop sold only decorations until version 1.6, where 3 items would be chosen out of a pool of 12. However, these items are obtained much more easily the normal way, the biggest exception being the garlic if sold in year 1, but that is still 4 days before you can just buy the seeds directly from Pierre. If the garlic was sold in the Egg Festival or Flower Dance, it would be worth its weight in gold, and would be worth purchasing even if it cost 10,000 G. But this late in the year, even the garlic isn't a big deal. Then, there's the gift giving ceremony. You're given a villager to gift to about a week beforehand, and you get a 5 times bonus from friendship gained. Normally this will be really good, but as you don't know who you're gifting, you usually won't get someone that you're low on friendship with unless you're low with everyone, which does make the utility of this festival lower than the Luau and Flower Dance, which can be planned around much easier. Then, once you give the gift, you get a gift from another villager. Sometimes, in some challenge runs, these can prove useful, like the eggs from Marnie if you're beating the game spending the least money possible, but avoiding the travelling cart. But, in most cases, the gifts you get here are not very impactful. Because the shop stock and the gift giving ceremony has such little impact on the game overall, the Feast of the Winter Star gets put into F tier. So, I went through 11 out of the 12 festivals in Stardew Valley, and at the start of the video, you may have noticed that I missed the Desert Festival. I left it for the end of the video because attending the Desert Festival in the first year is hard to do, as you need access to the desert, which costs 42,500 G if done via the community center. Getting 42,500 G by Spring 14 is possible. I did it in the full shipment run, but it is hard to do, and doing it limits the progress you can make in other areas like the mines. That is to say, I put the Desert Festival at the end of the video because most people will visit it for the first time in their second year of the game. The Desert Festival operates around its own currency, Calico Eggs. You get the Calico Eggs from various places, like a quiz, a bin, and fishing quests from Willy, but the main way you get the Calico Eggs is Skull Cavern. Basically, the whole deal of this festival is doing a deep Skull Caverns dive, getting eggs from Calico Egg nodes in the caverns, as well as from Calico statues that appear in Skull Caverns during this festival that can give rewards or punishments at random. Right before 2 AM, or right before midnight if visiting the villager shops, you should leave Skull Caverns to get a reward from Guild based on your egg rating, a separate counter based on how deep you go and how many statues you find and trigger. The villager shops can sell incredibly useful items, but as they close at midnight, you can't spend quite as long in Skull Caverns if you want to visit them. Notable stock includes a magic rock candy from Jazz, hardwood from Leah, and unique weapons from the original Bachelors and Bachelorettes. However, the best stock comes from the Calico Egg Merchant, which is available all the way until 2 AM. You can buy strawberry seeds, and magic rock candy, and foraging skill books, the latter being arguably the best thing you can get at this festival. Even if you can't get enough Calico Eggs to buy enough foraging skill books over 3 days to level foraging all the way from level 0 to 10, you can get a significant amount of progress, especially with a full year's worth of setup to do this in year 2. But getting any number of foraging skill books in the Desert Festival year 1 is really hard to do. If you go deep enough in Skull Cavern to get an egg rating of 55, you get 500 Calico Eggs, a magic rock candy, and this. Obviously, the Desert Festival has to get S tier. Before I end the video, there is one bonus event to briefly touch on. Green Rain. It's not a festival, but it is a yearly event. Green Rain causes most tree seedlings to fully grow and causes weeds to appear, particularly 2x2 weeds that give 15 XP each. Because of this, you can get a lot of foraging XP during and after the Green Rain day, which to me makes the Green Rain event S tier. So that's it. Some festivals like the Desert Festival and the Egg Festival get S tier, and others like the Feast of the Winter Star get F tier, based on the impact that these festivals have on the gameplay in the days before and after them. This isn't to say that every festival should be like the Egg Festival and Desert Festival in terms of gameplay impact. Different people get different things from the festivals, so a more diverse set of festivals is preferable. This video is just my opinion on the festivals. Yours may differ, so let me know in the comments what your favourite festival in Stardew Valley is, and if you want to see which video I make next, subscribe to find out. Also, as a heads up, I'll release this video early to coincide with Christmas, which means no video on January 1st.